Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Trump has just scored a major win with the DOJ, everybody. This is big bombshell news because, again, too, if we drain the swamp, we will fix America. And we've got huge news for you today. I'm talking massive voter fraud that's been found, come out just this morning by the DOJ. Whistleblowers coming out. This is massive. And not only that, a new bill has just been introduced by the Senate this morning by Senator Rick Scott. Trump is moving forward with giving Americans thousands of dollars for their health care, sidestepping Obamacare. This is the first step to actually putting America first, stop growing these huge, large healthcare companies, and let Americans keep their hard-earned money, guys. I love this. If you voted for this, guys, hit the thumbs up like button because we are about to get into it big time. The DOJ has just opened an investigation into how taxpayer dollars ended up funding the Somali terrorist group Al-Shabaab. This is big. Just started this morning. Not only that, they've just released that there is massive voter fraud cases involving the immigrants that Biden flew into the country. This is so big. Everything that we said that was happening, we're about to show you today, everybody. And it's all coming out. And I love this because guess what? Not only did we expose this, but they gave them social security numbers. You cannot make this stuff up, everybody. Whistleblowers say that Tim Walz and other governors retaliated against them by threatening their jobs. The voter fraud case in Minnesota shows Somalian communities were targeted to register fake voters for Democrats. Fraudulent voter registration applications were submitted to election officials and offices in 13 plus Minnesota counties. And this is only the beginning, everybody. This is what we said was happening. DOJ, and this is all popping back up again because now that we know that they gave them social security numbers, just a reminder that DOJ found that 3,920,028 non-citizens were given social security cards issued from 2021 to 2024. And now all of that's being revealed and exposed, and we actually are finding the people that did it. Illegals have been voting. Illegals have been stealing billions of dollars. Illegals were receiving benefits, have committed crimes, and influenced the House seats and changed the electoral college numbers because the Democrats wanted them to. And this is how it was all designed. There was no vetting process to obtain a social security number. There were so many that almost 4 million were received out. But now, again, all these scams, and it just so happens that they're out of Minnesota, coming out there first, has been revealed that the Somali Feeding Our Future scam stole over $250 million from the Department of Education. And they did so by threatening to label officials as racist in the media unless payments were released. Does that not sound like extortion? And again, this is where we're moving forward, everybody. The new investigations have started, and Senator Rick Scott has proposed legislation that would follow through on President Trump's call to directly give Americans their federal health care dollars and fix many of the problems with Obamacare. This is what we voted for. This is a massive change that's about to happen to Social Security as well as Medicare, guys. This is big. We got all the breaking news for you today. Want to say thank you to everybody who is watching. A lot of people are wondering what's going to happen now because they're redoing all the overhaul for Medicare. They're redoing for Social Security because now that we have found this out, they're taking more steps to undo all the fraud, waste, and abuse. This is so important today, guys. I want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, to all of our subscribers and viewers. Thank you so much for your support. If you're watching and not part of the family yet, please consider joining our family, hitting that subscribe button so we can take care of you every day with the breaking news. And I want to give special love to those that have given today. Show some special love to Doris, Jean Hall, Donna, Donna Hegeman. God bless you. And our boy Ralph Campbell, Mobile Welding. Show them some love in the chat. Remember, donations to this channel, we partner with you. And on the 22nd of every single month, we're donating to a local charity. And this is a big month, guys. It's Christmas month. We want to give to these kids in the children's home. And we're fully transparent. We show you the receipt and everything. This is going to be our biggest giving month ever. I promise. And this is huge, everybody. If you don't mind doing us a huge favor of hitting that thumbs up like button. And don't forget, right now, we are in open enrollment time that's about to end this week, guys. So please, if you're on Medicare, call them up, 667-895-3015. Our sponsored chapter, this is a free service to you. We've literally had people on this channel tell us, put it in the chat, that they've saved. We had one that told me yesterday, saved over $2,900 on their healthcare just by calling chapter. It's a free service. People are saving thousands of dollars. The open enrollment's about to end, and I don't want you to miss out on the benefits. And again, the number is 667-895-3015. Call them up. I promise you'll be blessed. This is big, big stuff that's happening, guys. And what I'm super excited about is this new, I told you it was coming out. The Big Beautiful Bill 2.0 is coming out, and this is huge. This is going to change so much across the board because of all the fraud, waste, and abuse that we have already found out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Listen to this.
Trump and GOP lawmakers are weighing also a second reconciliation bill for 2026, which would advance health care and other Republican priorities. Joining me now is Ohio Congressman Warren Davidson. Congressman, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. So you're on the Financial Services Committee in the House. What are your priorities, and what about that idea of a second reconciliation package next year?
Good to see you, Maria. Both of those things are music to my ears. I mean, I've been working on healthcare since 2017 when I first got to Congress, and it seems like we might finally have a moment to get some traction on Republican bills. People always say, well, where's your plan? We've got lots of them. We don't have a single plan, and part of that is just having the floor time, the debate time, and really the focus in committees to do it. So I'm encouraged that this moment might finally be here for Republicans to come together around a plan. And as for reconciliation, that seems to be the only way to pass anything. I proposed when the shutdown was on, Democrats were saying, you guys aren't negotiating. Like, no, the CR was the negotiation. Let me show you what not negotiating like. It's not needing any of your votes. That's something we can do on reconciliation. Boom. And I hope we put a lot of our discretionary funding that Democrats won't agree to, if they won't, and get it done. There's no excuse to go a minute beyond January 30th, and we could do that with reconciliation.
So the president has been re-emphasizing affordability as really his key focus here, going into the off-cycle election, and with his meeting with Zoran Mamdani on Friday. What are the priorities for you with regard to affordability right now?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you've got about 10% of the country, the top 10% of earners, driving about 50% of our GDP. So you talk to a lot of people and they say, oh, things are fine. Well, yeah, you're one of the people that benefits from inflation. You know, if you've got assets, if you already own your home, you know, the tide has lifted your boats just fine, and it's more bearable. But most of the country is getting crushed by prices. And yeah, the rate of increase is down. That's inflation. But the price level is still very high, and wages haven't kept up with that. So I think that's the thing, is letting the market do what the market does, and, you know, stop bridging it with more government. But what you see, just like healthcare, education, the things that you subsidize, their rate of inflation exceeds the underlying economy. So there's always a temptation to throw more government at something, and the reality is we need less government in most situations.
Well, look,
Let me tell you this, guys. They're already moving this morning. This is big. Senate is back in check. Look at this. This is huge, everybody. Senator Rick Scott proposes legislation that would follow through on the President Donald Trump's call to directly give Americans their federal health care dollars and fix many of the problems with Obamacare. This is huge. This is going to be a massive, massive hit to the big pharma, big healthcare that, again, donate heavily to the Democratic Party, guys. This is where we start getting into the money. This is where we start hitting them hard. And again, all this is happening right now. This morning, breaking news, guys. We're telling you it before even mainstream media gets to it. Because again, too, no more waiting. Trump knows that he has to get money into kids' pockets, or else we're going to lose the midterms. Jogo, thank you so much for gifting 10 TrueLife News memberships. I love it. Show Jogo some love in the chat, everybody. If you got a free membership, thank you so much, brother, for your support. Let's go. I love it. Show Nana Trout some love in the chat. Member of the channel. Thank you so much, Nana Trout, for your support. We can't thank y'all enough for helping us in our giving and our support for these children's homes. I love it. This is what we're known for, everybody. We're making great change. If you love this, hit the thumbs up like button, because I'm telling you, this big beautiful bill 2.0 is about to change everything. Because again, too, the whole Obamacare stuff is about to change. Listen to this.
Their rate of inflation
67 days away from the funding expiration, January 30th. Are you expecting another government shutdown, or do you feel that you'll be able to have enough appropriations bills in the books to stop that?
I know, talking with Chairman Cole, the leader for our Appropriations Committee in the House, our House committee passed all the appropriations bills. We haven't had floor debate on every one of those, but I think we'll have a robust session between now and Christmas. I don't know if we'll get all of them done, but I hope by Christmas the House has sent nearly all of the appropriations bills to the Senate so they can start debating and taking them up there. And there's no reason why we can't get all of them across the finish line in the House well ahead of January 30th. The question is, will we get any Democrat votes to get something across the finish line? And that increasingly looks like no. So we got to have one of two plays, which is you put what is traditionally discretionary spending in mandatory. That's what we did with defensive probes and border security when we did the big beautiful bill. We deemed them mandatory. And funding the government, if avoiding a shutdown isn't that, then surely we could do it on a lot of other things and just get the cash to the administration. And even if not all the policy writers are there, I think the administration is going to go in the direction we would want them to go. And if Democrats don't like that, well, hey, your policy writers drop off too. But we can get the funding there through reconciliation. And the other is called the nuclear option for the Senate. In the House, we can't control that. It's up to the Senate to decide whether they're going to break the filibuster. We know Democrats plan to, though.
Ooh, I'm telling you, everybody, this stuff is big. Look at this stuff that's come out this morning. New York Times admits Minnesota Governor Tim Walz oversaw staggering levels of Social Security fraud, over $1 billion stolen by Somali migrants. Guys, this is the stuff that literally changes everything. This is the stuff that whenever we deal with trying to get out the fraud, the waste, and abuse, you're seeing it right here on the screen. Over $1 billion stolen by Somali migrants in one state from one group of people that we found out that Biden brought into this country. Over $1 billion, okay? You cannot tell me that across all the other blue states that there isn't more fraud, waste, and abuse. This is the type of stuff, though, that now is triggered moving forward with a complete overhaul of vetting, going through and auditing every single state. I'm about to show you this in a moment, that I'm so thankful because, again, if we don't audit them, if we don't go after them, we will always continue to be putting ourselves into a horrible national debt. And not only that, look at this right here by the Right Angle News Network. The Somali Feeding Our Future scam, which stole over $250 million from Minnesota's Department of Education, did so by threatening to label officials as racist. Guys, you cannot make this stuff up. This is Right Angles News Network. This is the gateway pundit of everything that's coming out. And it is insane what we are seeing of how much corruption that there has been. And again, you got to think, okay, what's the next part? What else are we going to unveil? Well, again, they're digging in deeper. I love this. And across the board, Trump is winning big time, guys. Because this being reported on CNN is one of the biggest wins that we could ever get for the American people. Listen to this.
This morning, some states seeing gas prices below $3 for the first time in years. Let's get to CNN's Matt Egan for the good news on this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice to finally be here with some good news on the cost of living front. So for the first time in 4.5 years, gas prices are averaging $3 a gallon nationally, according to AAA, down by 7 cents in just the past week. Gas prices were low a year ago as well, but they're even cheaper now. This is encouraging to see because late last month there was a period where gas prices were actually higher this year than last year, but that has reversed again, and now we've just fractions of a penny away from breaking below $3 a gallon. Now, as you mentioned, we've got 20 states across the country where the average is actually less than $2.75 a gallon, including
baby.
North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Colorado as well. Certainly nice to see this. Why is this happening? Well, it all comes down, of course, to oil prices, right? Oil prices are about $59 a barrel this morning. If you look back in history, on December 1, 3 years ago, we're looking at $81 a barrel for oil, $67 even last year. So significantly cheaper, and that's because right now, supply of oil continues to outpace demand. It's U.S. supply. Production in the U.S. is at all-time highs. It's higher.
U.S. supply is at all-time high. So you mean to tell me that all we needed was our president to stop with all the regulations, allow us to be able to produce our own energy when it comes to oil, and then that's where we are winning? Guys, look at this. This is the stuff that they can't help but they have to say it because Trump is winning. This is what we voted for. Trump said we're going to have the lowest gas prices ever. There's no reason why we can't. I love this, everybody. Joe Go with the super chat. Let's go. Several Republicans need to get out and vote in the midterms. Do not sit idly by. Things do not happen overnight, so please be patient for coming up changes. Go MAGA. I love it. Show Joe Go some love in the chat. Also for gifting the 10 True Life News memberships. Yvonne Criado, thank you so much for your support and your membership. And Terry Daniels, welcome to the family. Show Terry some love in the chat. And guys, don't forget, excuse me, guys, to show all our members some love in the chat. This is big because, again, it's under Trump's presidency. We're hitting our lowest gas prices, and it's because the U.S. is reaching its highest levels of production in U.S. energy.
Than last year, but only a little bit higher. OPEC is the big story, though, right? Saudi-led OPEC, they are ramping up production substantially this year. They've signaled that they plan to pause those output hikes next year. But for now, look, this is a good story when it comes to the affordability crisis. Gasoline, it's relatively cheap.
All right, well, good news for now, Matt Egan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Hey, you can't help it. It's the affordability. It's happening under Trump. And look what just popped up, guys. Right here, new docs reveal Jack Smith knew subpoenaing GOP senators was illegal. Biden's DOJ Public Integrity Section admitted in writing that subpoenaing Republican members' phone records violated the speech or debate clause, citing controlling precedent that the bar on compelling disclosure is absolute. Despite this, Jack Smith still approved the subpoenas, then sought non-disclosure orders from James Boasberg. Oh, who's about to be impeached this week? James Boasberg. Guys, this week is a big week for us. This week is a week of not only more arrest, not only more subpoenas and investigations, but also of impeachments of the crazies on the left-wing side. If you love this, guys, hit the thumbs up like button. This is what we voted for, baby. Winning at a huge high level. Alice Lewis, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Said, this is the best giving family I ever saw. Love you. We love you too, Alice. Thank you so much for your support. M. Fout 383, thank you so much for your support. Said, the disruption of bad players has begun. I hope it goes deep enough. Amen. Show M. Fout and Alice some love in the chat, as well as our boy Andy with the super chat. Said, when is Joe Biden going to be charged with treason? We, the people, demand all their wealth, homes, bank accounts, investments as a payback, or these criminals never learn. Anything else is nothing burger. Amen, brother. With all the crap that they pulled, we need to hold them accountable to the highest level. Show them some love in the chat. Our boy Andy, Alice, and M. Fout. Guys, because again, what you're about to listen next, so much is happening today. This is big stuff.
Lavagna Look, Joe, you wrote a really incredible piece, and you were out on media late last week over Thanksgiving about affordability and the actions that Treasury and the president are taking on that. But it's fantastic. I want to start with that. But the key to this, as we've said, is the big, beautiful bill, the supply side tax cut, coupled with President Trump's redoing of the world's commercial relationships to drive manufacturing back to the United States. Can you, let's start in affordability, actions taken, and then we'll get into growth, sir.
Sure. Thank you, Steve, for having me, and a belated happy Thanksgiving. On the one big, beautiful bill, there's a few pieces to it, very important. On the CapEx expenditure side, it allows companies permanently to deduct 100% of their capital expenditure when they invest in computers, other sorts of technologies. That matters because it lifts productivity. With higher productivity, you get faster wages. That increases affordability. The next piece, Steve, is the 100% expensing for structures. That will start from the beginning of this year and go to 2028. What that will encourage is a factory sector boom that will help us reindustrialize by creating the infrastructure necessary to produce the goods that people want. Those are going to entail high-paying jobs, both the construction jobs and the people that will work in those factories. That's another way to lift affordability. And last but not least is the no tax on tips and overtime. That will increase after-tax pay. In the case of tips, it's about $1,700 per year extra income to households, and on the overtime, potentially upwards of $1,800, according to CEO analysis. So if you want to deal with affordability, what the Trump administration is doing is giving people good jobs with high wages.
Let's go, baby.
Are you confident? Is Treasury confident? Or are you working with Commerce that, for instance, the CapEx that's not simply going into data centers and the energy production you need for the data centers? Are you guys having a feel now that it actually is coming back to even more basic manufacturing, kind of the manufacturing hegemon that we want to become or return to, and instead of just and I'm not faulting artificial intelligence. I got a lot of problems with artificial intelligence. I understand you need the data centers, but is the concentration of CapEx right now not just in data centers?
Yes,
guys, this is huge because this guy talking is a counselor to Secretary Treasury Scott Bessent. Massive. The things that they are doing to build up the United States into a powerhouse is insane. What you're about to hear, I love it. This just shows you, everybody, we got some amazing people on Trump's team.
When you look at the GDP data, you obviously see AI-related investment very strong. However, if you also look below the surface, you see very good spending on transit equipment, very strong spending on just business equipment or industrial equipment. So it transcends the AI. We know from the first Trump administration when we had 100% expensing, it wasn't permanent then, it's permanent now. You get all sorts of investment that give people the tools and the ability to earn more in their job. Now, on the factory incentive, which is very novel, and Steve, just to give you an example, normally you would depreciate a factory over 39 and a half years. We're going to now be able to depreciate a factory immediately in the year it was done, and it does not include data centers. So we're very hopeful you're going to get some good old-fashioned cyclical type of industries that create good jobs with good pay.
Let's go,
that
baby.
will protect our supply chains and rejuvenate the manufacturing sector, which has suffered massively under the prior administration and, of course, for the bulk of the last 20-odd years.
How do you...
And everybody, I love layering in some of this news because it's so important. Trump came out over the weekend and said that they asked him, how long does your administration plan to pause asylum? Okay. He said, a long time. We don't want those people. We have enough problems. You know why we don't want them, because many of them are no good and they should not be in our country. That's some harsh words coming from President Trump, but what he's saying is that, look, we have 30 plus million people that came in the past 4 years. We know that they were given Social Security numbers. We know that they were given tax benefits. We know that we don't even know how many are in here that are terrorists or bad people, and we have to clean this out. Because again, too, all this is coming to bite the Democrats in the butt. They're the ones that let in all these people. They're the ones that tried to fast track them to citizenship. President Trump, who is seemingly looking like the bad guy, all he's doing is just showing everybody, guess what? What you're seeing here is exposing the corruption.
box to reveal what's really going on. DOJ exposed our immigration asylum disaster. That was the tip of the iceberg. Now, here's the story. DOJ has found that immigration gave a work authorization document to illegals just 5 months after they filed for asylum. That document allowed them to work while they waited to hear whether their asylum request had been accepted or denied. So they could work as an illegal, knowing it would take years before their case was heard. The Immigration Department mailed them a Social Security number. No interview, no proof of identity. Just put it in the mail. Here's your number. In 2021, DOJ says 270,000 new aliens were issued Social Security numbers, 590,000 in 2022, 964,000 in 2023, and 2.1 million in 24, right before Biden left office. DOJ also discovered that 1.3 million aliens are now receiving Medicaid. Millions received driver's licenses, some registered to vote, and DOJ says some actually did vote. Try and square that against Democrat claims that Musk is destroying Social Security and cutting Medicaid. He's not
Let me tell you this, guys. This stuff right here is blowing up again because they said it wasn't happening. We now know it is, and now they're digging deeper into it across the board. And when you cut off the asylum, you start cleaning out the country, and we know who's here. You start creating more jobs, and you start making it so that our American citizens are going to be put first. Listen to this. This is massive, everybody. This is what we voted for.
No, it's not just GDP growth, but it's GDP growth per cap. You know, you're getting it back to the actual individual and to the family unit. How do you avoid, I assume in the numbers you're looking at for the fourth quarter, which hasn't finished, and even in the third quarter, that the government shutdown had some impact on that, on our growth rate. How do you avoid the Democrats using that as another tool when we go back to the CR fight that's going to happen right after we get back from the holidays? Because the CR, I think, terminates on January 20th.
So, Steve, look, in the second quarter, we take federal spending out. We grew 4.5%. It looks like we grew at 4% in the third quarter. Both of those quarters were private sector led, both consumption and capital expenditures, in part related to the supply side initiatives that you talked about. Over the weekend, the spending data suggests that consumer spending accelerated this November versus last November. There will be a hit on the government side. The secretaries mentioned perhaps we lose a 1.5 points on GDP, but we're still probably looking at a good quarter for growth, and we expect that, Steve, to be made up next quarter. I mean, the thing about the bill that's so important is the forward is very, very positive because you got tax incentives that are incentivizing businesses, encouraging businesses to spend on capital. And that always leads to faster hiring and a solid economy. You overlay that with the energy and what the administration is doing on the energy side, where energy costs have come down dramatically. We're seeing it on the gasoline side.
Let's go,
We're trying
baby.
to do things on the nuclear side to provide cheap and abundant energy across the board. That's really the mix, Steve, of a very generational shift in investment and growth. And I'm very optimistic about it. And President Trump's the person that can engineer this sort of boom.
And I'm telling you, everybody, it's a boom like nobody's business because the fraud, the lies, they're all coming out done. I'm telling you, there's people now that have dug and whistleblowers coming out over the CIA and all this stuff. It's insane. I want to show you how bad the system is trying to screw things up, everybody. Look at this right here. Look at these people that are on this sex offender registry. Everything that we're exposing, everything. Look at these people, and they're all labeled as what is their race. And this is all on archive in the government files. White, white, white. You know these people ain't dang white. Come on. And not only that, look at this. Even they're mentioning, look at this. This person was dark white skin. You can't make it up, everybody. The stuff that is coming out, it's all coordinated deep state stuff that is trying to destroy America. But what they hate is that Trump is bringing us back to a revolution of the truth. MAGA first, baby. I love it. If you appreciate this, hit the thumbs up like button, guys. Thank you so much for your support because we are moving forward big time, winning in this country.
I think you guys are very close. I understand Treasury to announcing the Trump accounts. There's also going to be not just the no tax on tips, less tax on seniors, of course, less tax on overtime. Things are going to be announced and going to be hit, and it'll hit when people get their tax refunds. What do you anticipate of that? Is that going to be another infusion of cash and stimulus into the economy?
I don't want to preempt all the great news that's coming on the Trump accounts, but it's an incredible program that's going to build wealth and raise living standards for young boys and girls who are born. We'll get those in their Trump accounts. But broadly speaking, on the no tax on tips and overtime, that should net upwards of about $200 billion, Steve, to folks next year. Some of it will come in refunds, which they'll get early in the first quarter. Some of it they'll see their after-tax income go up because they'll have lower withholding taken out, and that could be worth up about 0.6 of GDP. So it's very encouraging, and certainly when you don't tax overtime, you're going to encourage people to work more. You're going to incentivize people to give their hard-earned efforts to keep more of their after-tax pay. I mean, this is a very good story that we need to really get out and market and message more, because this is money that's going to go right to people's pocketbooks and alleviate that affordability issue that you highlight is so important to folks.
Guys, this is such a big win. And not only that, but the wins keep coming. We have Senator Rick Scott, who's proposing today the legislation that would follow through on President Donald Trump's call to directly give Americans their federal healthcare dollars. Fix many of the problems with Obamacare, sidestep the healthcare insurance subsidies, and give it straight to the American people, guys. This is what I love, because again, too, when have you ever heard of the President of the United States say, we're going to direct to always, always, always put the American people first, no matter what? And that's what's happening. And you're talking about these health insurance companies got literally 1,100% increases because of all the subsidies from the federal government. Now, no, we need federal government to get smaller. We need to give money back to the people. This is what we voted for, but we're about to see another rate cut come this week, guys. Things are happening. This is great, great, great stuff.
Take a look at stocks. They are higher today as markets roar back from last week's sell-off. The Dow, S&P 500, and NASDAQ are now hitting two-week highs. Rate cut hopes are driving the bounce that we're seeing, with the latest economic data supporting the dovish case. Also, more Fed governors like Stephen Myron are making their opinions known and saying that inflation worries shouldn't stop a cut.
I don't see an inflation problem. I do see potential risks to the labor market. In my mind, almost all of the inflation excess is a mirage. It's due to supply-demand imbalances in the housing market that were a thing in 2022 to 2024, perhaps, but not a thing now in 2025 and beyond.
So inflation and the Fed and a cut are part of the market story. AI is part of that story. Asset prices moving sky high, part of that story. You know, I'm in the Brian camp on this, and we've discussed it before, where I saw that pullback and thought to myself, you know what, this is a little bit of a healthy correction, and there's nothing wrong with that. But here we are again, stocks are moving up once more.
Yeah, a couple of things to point out. I think the market investors can't make up their mind what the Fed's going to do, because a month ago we were 90% sure there wasn't going to be that there was going to be a cut. A week ago we were 50% sure there's not going to be a cut. Now we're back to 80% sure there's going to be a cut. We're getting a cut. The labor market is cooling too fast. You can't correct that quickly like you can with an inflation flare-up. Here's the thing I'd point to on the valuations. It was a natural, healthy correction, a pullback of 5% or more. Valuations, if you look at the dot-com days, the top 3 companies that accounted for the biggest market share percentage in the S&P 500 traded at 61 times forward earnings. Where are we today with the top? That seems very high. Where are we today with the top 3 companies in the S&P 500? 31 times. So this could be a bubble, but I would argue that it hasn't fully inflated yet. We've got a ways to go before we really have to worry about it popping.
I love this, everybody. So massive, so big, because again, too, as we continue to fuel out, drain the swamp, guys, we're getting so much information that we've never had before. And even Elon Musk came out this weekend, richest man in the world, and told us some things that is just revealing to us what's actually happening in the federal government, how bad politics are. And I want you to see this real quick, because again, too, this goes into the next segment of what we're doing, what we're trying to do to help you out. But listen to this. This is the richest man in the world saying this.
You know, I've generally found that when I get involved in politics, it ends up badly. So then I'm like, you know, probably shouldn't do that. I should do less of that, is my conclusion.
Do you think that's true for all businessmen?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, politics is a blood sport, you know. It's like you enter politics, they're going to go for the jugular. So best to avoid politics where possible.
You see that? When the richest man in the world is talking about the politics being a blood sport. And now look at this. This just posted by the leading report, everybody. Hundreds of Minnesota government workers have now accused Governor Tim Walz of being responsible for massive fraud. This just shows you, everybody, how bad everything really is. Now people are coming out of the woodworks. People don't want to go to jail. They're going to say, look, this guy knew about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Should he go to jail? Because they're all saying that he is responsible for the fraud. Billions of dollars of taxpayer money given to literally a terrorist group. Huge. And this is why, again, too, guys, we partnered with Chapter. Right now, it's open enrollment time. For those on Medicare, guys, the door's about to close for open enrollment, and we don't want you to miss your blessing. They do this for free. They've literally saved people thousands of dollars on this channel in healthcare costs a year. Not only that, they've also helped people get thousands of dollars in additional benefits. And I love it. People, put your testimonials in the chat if you've been blessed, because everybody needs to see this is real. The number is 667-895-3015. The number's in the description, as well as the link to their website, as well as the numbers at the bottom of the screen. We want you to be blessed. We want you to win. And this is how we get to serve you in another capacity. Because everything that's happening, so much fraud, so much waste and abuse, you don't need to pay more than you should for your Medicare. You need to be blessed, and I promise you, you won't regret it. Chapter is a phenomenal company, and it's a free service. The number is 667-895-3015. Tell them that Joel sent you from TrueLife News, because I'm telling you, we are seeing some big wins right now.
I have lots of thoughts. First of all, this buy the dip mentality that's persisted the last couple of years seems to just be continuing. I'm in the camp that I don't think AI is a bubble if these are leading the fourth industrial revolution. And if the AI pie is getting bigger, then everyone can get bigger without taking market share, or that there is more market share to take and let the best man win in competition and innovation, and smart CEOs and smart entrepreneurs and business people will figure it out and innovate, and the pie will get bigger. Another thing, this is sort of a side note, and this will come back to the equity market and the economy, and I'm going to quote the IMF. Take that for what it's worth. I know. I know. But listen, they have good news. They came out with a forecast for the largest economy by 2030. Remember all those fears, and I was one of them, back in 2020? Oh my gosh, China's going to be the world's top economy by 2025. The IMF still thinks that the U.S. will be the largest by $10.5 trillion by 2030. It is still the U.S. We are still the best place to go.
Yes.
Money goes where it's treated best. I'm still super optimistic that the U.S. is that best place. And if those economic projections stand, we're still far outpacing China as the number 2 economy by over $10 trillion in that time span. And so when the gap was closing, it's now opening up again.
That's encouraging.
Which is encouraging. And so I do have so much optimism in maybe it's AI or whatever sort of drives us further. And I think the equity market follows, right? Because it follows growth.
If you took valuations out of the equation, though, and just looked at the fundamentals, revenue growth is at the highest it's been in over 8 quarters. Profit margins at a record territory since 2009. Earnings growth, five consecutive quarters of double-digit growth. The fundamental underpinnings of this bull market are strong. It's just the valuation that comes into question.
I hear you on valuation, but here is what still worries me about this. In a high inflation...
I want to show you this real quick, everybody, because this is, of course, breaking news even today. I don't know if this is something that y'all know of or it's happening, but Trump's admin's new SNAP requirements take effect for food stamp recipients. Okay, this is big breaking news, okay? If you appreciate this, guys, I'm telling you, we show you stuff as it's coming out. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, we're here to serve you. So President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act raised the age limit from 54 to 64 for people who must work, train, or volunteer at least 80 hours per month and qualifying for activities to receive assistance from the SNAP program. The new rules apply to those just joining SNAP or at their next recertification. This is big. The size and scope of SNAP, which supports more than 40 million Americans, came under review scrutiny during the government shutdown as funding for the sweeping food assistance program neared a funding lapse. This is big. SNAP served an average 41.7 million participants per month, about 12% of Americans, costing taxpayers roughly $99 billion, everybody. 20% of I think it's Coca-Cola's profits come from SNAP, if that tells you anything. So this is huge. Trump's admin's new SNAP benefits have taken effect. If you're one of them, make sure that you know what's going on. This is big, big stuff, everybody, that's coming out. But again, what do we want to do? We want to continue to put America first, do what's right, and not create a dependent society. We all need to do our part, work if we can, to pull our own weight.
The AI, I'd rather be on the side of going full throttle on AI investment than not. I would rather the U.S. be a leader, not sitting on the sidelines. But it is absolutely certain we are getting big things wrong because it's an unknown space. You can't know the future. Nobody knows exactly how AI is going to play out. So there are going to be bets that are wrong. There's going to be capacity built that is wrong. That's okay. It's better to do it and get things wrong than not do it at all. But I do get nervous about the wealth effect spending. We've talked a lot about wealth effect spending here. That's where, when the air comes out of the market, you get spending coming out of the market as well. And now you're talking about compounding the problem of maybe a stock market correction with a broader economic correction. I do get nervous about that. I do think culturally we are living more in a moment now where people feel better about betting in the market and then spending money that they haven't realized yet. And I get it. I'm a little bit like that sometimes too, but I don't think that's healthy. And so I do get nervous about culturally the way we view equity earnings and the effect it has on our behaviors and how much we're banking on that right now to keep the economy going. We're banking on it. Like, we're always talking. Wasn't somebody scolding us the other day because we weren't upgrading our iPhones fast enough? Like, you need to upgrade. Like, no, that's not what drives an economy. That is not what drives an economy. It's work that drives an economy, not me buying more iPhones when I don't need one. Sorry, that's my little Apple scoop.
Having lived through and worked through the dot-com bubble and worked for the first independent, standalone financial publication, internet-based publication that wasn't associated with a newspaper, where people in financial services wouldn't even talk to me because it wasn't a legitimate publication. It is. Artificial intelligence and AI is a revolution, and it is changing the way that we live and work now.
Let me tell you this. You know how crazy AI is, guys? They showed it yesterday that AI somebody created a Christian singer called Solomon Ray. That person, or that AI, literally hit the #1 on the Christian charts for their Christmas songs. You want to know how crazy this stuff is getting? That's why it's good to know what's going on, to make sure that we control it, because what's going to happen, it's going to affect everybody.
With just Claude Opus 4.5 that came out, there's a lot of talk, came out a few days ago, and there's a lot of talk about that it's much better than OpenAI and threatening OpenAI, potentially, just in some of the tests that I've seen. But that doesn't mean that it's still a bubble. And there will be companies that go away. And some of them could go away really quickly. Because there is the spending that is going on just on the data center infrastructure and I've mentioned this before, you have the largest of the large technology companies that they believe there is a winner-takes-all dynamic. And if they let one company take a commanding lead, they are screwed for a quarter of a century. So they are going to spend not only their cash flow, they're going to borrow money, which they have already started doing. And if you can't keep up with them, like you're looking at, say, and I've discussed this, but look at even Oracle compared to other bigger tech companies. Oracle's bonds not performing well. Oracle is burning cash, tens of billions of dollars more over the next several years. The yields on the bonds that they just issued are high, have been, I haven't looked in the last few days, higher than almost all investment grade technology bonds. You go down the ladder a little bit and you look at a business like CoreWeave, their bonds, they're, again, borrowing money. Look at the stock just in the last month.
CoreWeave is, I think, the canary in the coal mine for...
I'm telling you guys, all this stuff's going to affect us in one way or another. You know we're going to get you taken care of on the news. I wanted to show you this because this was posted. Again, everybody is throwing Tim Walsh under the bus right now for the corruption that's happening in Minnesota. Look at this. Since we're back on the Tim Walsh feeding our future, here's Tim Walsh pictured with defendant 58 in the $250 million feeding our future fraud scheme. Guys, you cannot tell me they didn't know anything about this. And right now, we just this morning had federal appeals court rule that Alina Habba, Trump's former personal lawyer, is unlawfully serving as the U.S. attorney for New Jersey. You cannot make this stuff up. Again, they are trying to hit the people closest to Trump. And this is a person that literally sat at the same table that Trump was at during the night of the election, because that's how close they are. And what sucks is because, again, too, great, phenomenal U.S. attorney, but the way that they said that Trump did it was unlawful, and the way that Pam Bondi can't do it's unlawful. But it's these appeals courts in these very left-wing states that are trying to just do anything that they can to hurt Trump. Because, again, too, what you're about to hear next, the congressional leaders are on this, everybody. The more that we have dug into this, and now that we're kind of like with this immigration and asylum, we're literally putting a stop to everything. This is why they're fighting us so hard. Listen to this.
Congressman, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. Will the House do a thorough investigation of all the Afghans who came to the United States under the Biden administration? Is that even possible?
You know, I think that we have an obligation to investigate who is brought into the United States under this program. But, you know, the question really isn't about how thorough was our vetting or were these people vetted properly. Obviously, they were not. That's why we're having terrorist attacks within our own borders. The real question is, why were they brought into the country to begin with? In other words, why are we bringing people into the United States from parts of the globe, for instance, where pederastic rape is considered culturally acceptable? I mean, that is utterly suicidal. We have to decide with our immigration policies, does this benefit the American people? And in this case, obviously it doesn't.
You know, Congressman, you might get called Islamophobic for saying that. It just happens to be that I experienced it firsthand myself. I know exactly what you're talking about. You're talking about a part of the world where what we would consider to be normal morality is perceived differently, especially in Afghanistan and places where I was at. When we look at this program, you just hit the nail on the head. Okay, you vetted them thoroughly. Still, why are they here? Why did we need to bring them here? Why did we train tens of thousands of Afghans to be commandos to fight the Taliban just to bring them here with that skill set? Are they going to fight the Taliban here? No, but they may join it. So now we have tens of thousands of them in our country. And the question is, have we been keeping track of them? Do we know where they are? I know for a fact a lot of them flew into San Antonio and are in Texas, and that right there where you are. Do we have any way that you're aware of to keep track of these folks?
You know, I think we certainly can track these people down. We can figure that out. But the question is, if we have to worry about tracking people that we brought into the country to begin with, they shouldn't have been able to come in to begin with in the first place. That's the real question. Yes, we can track these people down. We can figure out where they live, what they're up to, and we will do all of that because our job is to keep the American people safe. But we ought to reevaluate why we're allowing in people from all over the globe who are, in this case, unvetted. But why are we allowing them to come in to begin with from cultures that are utterly incompatible with our own? And you're right, I'm sure somebody will call me Islamophobic for saying that. But I care about my wife and my kids and my country a whole lot more than I care about political correctness. And I think the American people do, too.
There's nothing wrong that whenever we show that, look, right now, we're $38 trillion in debt. We can't even fund our own Social Security. We're barely taking care of people on Medicare and Medicaid. And whenever we look at the illegal-headed households, 59% of them receive some form of welfare. 59% of them. Whether it's cash, food, Medicaid, or housing. If you're a legal migrant, you're 52%. Receive some form of this benefit. And then when it comes to U.S.-born headed households, 39%. So we are already 61% of the population is supporting in welfare 39% of the United States population. Then you want to bring in illegals and migrants and all them, and they are overwhelmingly 2/3 of them need some form of welfare, and we can't even take care of ourselves. Like, this is literally a matter of we have to be fiscally and financially responsible. This chart shows you, look at the number in purple. This is the illegal-headed households that the majority of them are receiving welfare benefits. We have a spending problem. We have an immigration problem. We have a Democratic trying to import voters in problem. If you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, we're bringing the facts today. Jim Barbato, OG of the channel. Let's go, brother. Show Jim some love in the chat, everybody. OG of the channel. Thank you so much, brother, for your support. This right here, everybody, is, again, what are the next steps we're about to take to be more fiscally and financially responsible, but to know who the heck is in our country.
And I want to ask a question. You already pretty much answered my question about revetting the migrants, but based on what you're saying, before the show today, I opened up my favorite AI program and I asked, has any congressman tried to repeal the Refugee Act of 1980? And the answer was no. No one has tried to do that. Why do you think that hasn't happened?
Well, I think for many decades there was a view that anybody from any part of the globe could come into the United States, and once they stepped foot on American soil, they would magically just get rid of all of their millennia-old ethnic prejudices or horrible cultural practices that ran their home countries into the ground, and they would automatically become American and adopt Western liberal values just by virtue of being in the United States.
Wow.
We know for a fact that that type of liberal utopianism is utterly false, and we're seeing the fruits of it right here, where you're having Afghanis who are brought into the country, who are bringing in the same sort of terroristic ideology that was much more common in Afghanistan, and they're adopting that, and they're bringing that into the United States. And we're seeing that firsthand here. We're seeing our National Guard members getting slaughtered by Afghanis who never should have been here to begin with. I think that we need to reevaluate that mindset. And I think we should abolish many of these refugee programs because they're not benefiting the American people. And that is the sole purpose of our federal government, is to benefit the American people.
100%.
Congressman Gill, we have been asking the question about what is Congress going to do, to protect all Americans in the wake of this attack in D.C. And one thing that came to mind was the recent designation of the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist group by the governor of your great state. Governor Abbott there in Texas took that step. And there has been legislation that's been proposed in Congress to also do the same thing this year, but it's not gone anywhere. It was referred to committee where it sits. Do you think that type of initiative would get increased support now, and would you support it?
Absolutely. I've co-sponsored legislation to do just that. I think that's something that I and several of my colleagues have been pushing for. This is basic common sense. If you're affiliated with a terrorist organization like the Muslim Brotherhood, first of all, we should designate that organization as a terrorist group, which we know that it is, and you shouldn't be here in this country at all. You know, doing that would give our federal government much more sort of ability to go after terrorists within the United States. So I absolutely support that. I think that that's something we will see growing support for in the coming weeks.
Congressman, change subject real quick.
This right here, everybody, again, where does it put us? It puts us into America First policies. What are the Democrats doing? They're trying to smear Trump as saying now that he is phobic to anybody that isn't white. Guys, this is insane. When we know that we have an issue, sometimes this is how you deal with it. But what you see the rhetoric coming from the left is just asinine. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, this is what suicidal empathy really looks like. This is not an abstraction. This is a case now, two cases, where this open borders policy, no vetting under the auspices of humanitarian parole, which is what Joe Biden did to let tens of thousands of Afghanis in here, without any vetting, right? And those are supposed to be individualized reviews. That's what that parole process under current law is. But they didn't care about any of that, Harris. They opened the border up wide open. 20 million people are here illegally from just 4 years of Joe Biden, including more people like this guy. So I think the Democrats, they don't know how to talk about this because they actually believe in open borders. And so they'll try to push the blame off. They sound ridiculous. One of the, I think, senators you had in there actually was the guy that went down to El Salvador.
Right there, everybody.
You know,
this
would beat his wife, a member of a cartel. So this is where they're at. And I think we have to be the adults in the room here and say, President Trump is doing the right thing here. We have to meet the mass migration that we saw in this country with mass deportations. We don't know who these people are. It's a national security threat. And it really hit home, of course, for those families as this guy assaulted and ambushed 2 National Guardsmen.
Right now, Trump is big on what they're calling the de-migration of the United States right now. And this, again, just shows you, everybody, we're going to take some big steps. Already, we're going to hit so many places.
On today's podcast, we talk
sorry, guys. We're going to hit so many places where it's going to be America First policies across the board. We're going to expose all this lawfare right here, just like it shows new docs reveal Jack Smith knew subpoenaing GOP senators was illegal. They knew it. And this is the part where it's like when I'm showing you this stuff, we are constantly getting to a point where they knew exactly what was happening. And then now it's time for the DOJ to do something. Pam Bondi, y'all know it. But her case for Letitia James and James Comey was dismissed. There is a lot of people saying that Andrew Bailey is about to take her place. I like Andrew Bailey. He's the Attorney General from Missouri who is now serving as the co-deputy chair of the FBI. I think we're about to see a lot more stuff whenever he comes into play. But listen to this, guys, because this again, too, lots of stuff is happening because Congress got back from their vacation and they're in this week, going to be doing a lot of stuff. Jim Barbato, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Show our boy Jim some love in the chat, as well as B1 Sly One. Says shout out to Alice for her help in the chat and the Discord. Amen. I love it. Show B1 Sly One some love, everybody in the chat. OG of the channel as well as moderator. Thank you so much for your help, everybody.
What Jason Smith told my colleague Jackie DeAngelis, in particular about the income caps. There is a report this morning in the Wall Street Journal that President Trump is looking at what the options are going to be for his new health care proposal. He's listening to his advisors, and that basically one of them is you handle the income caps in particular, and then you also maybe have a conversation about these health savings accounts. Your reaction to that?
Yeah, Cheryl, the income caps on both levels, both on the lowest level and on the highest level, need to be looked at. When you have individuals, as he pointed out, making $600 grand a year, the American taxpayer should not be subsidizing them. Now, at a 400% of the federal poverty level, there's this cliff that happens if these are not extended. And also at the lowest level, where people were paying nothing, where we know that anywhere from 6 to 12 million individuals were fraudulently enrolled in the ACA, and that with taxpayer dollars are literally going from checks directly from the federal government to insurance companies. Also remember, Cheryl, and I'll say this 1,000 times, the ACA was written by insurance companies for insurance companies.
Ooh.
We need to get some legislation back that actually fixes a great deal of that. I do think we need to extend these in some degree with the appropriate reforms with a glide path to eradicating them at some point in the future.
If for some reason you don't get a bipartisan deal on health care on ACA, would you consider basically a plan without Democrats and you would go through the reconciliation process instead? Is that a possibility?
I think everything's on the table. It's kind of short to do a reconciliation, but everything's on the table. We have to fix this problem, this debacle that the Obama administration created, and then during the Biden administration, they just put more lipstick on the pig as it kept going, pouring more and more subsidies into a failing system. We also, Cheryl, have to be very, very diligent in looking at to why health care costs so much. In 2000, it was 13% of GDP. Now it's almost 1/5 of GDP. There are about 12, 15
20%.
things. And again, there are a lot of people, a lot of companies and different.
Did you hear that? In 13 years, we went from 13% GDP as the cost of healthcare, 13%, to 20%, a 7% increase in 12 years. Guys, at the end of the day, everything that we're showing you is all about the invasion, okay? It's all about the fraud, the waste, and abuse. You take care of deportations and you take care of the fraud, waste, and abuse, and then we don't have a $2 trillion deficit. We probably have a $500 billion deficit, which we can easily take care of with tariffs and with cutting a little bit more spending. That's how bad it is right now in our country. But this right here, just showing you, like we're dealing with a lot of things that was created by one party, and then there's some parts that were created by the uniparty. This is where we are MAGA. I don't care about red. I don't care about blue. I just care about the red, white, and blue American citizens and making sure we're taken care of. Guys, if you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button. Camp Goer 1, let's go, brother, with the super chat. Said the amount of male Muslim brotherhood in America is overwhelming. The size of an army. We need them out now. Everyone protect and family. I love it. Show Camp Goer 1 some love in the chat, as well as Michael Hendricks with the super chat said, TrueLife, keep up the good work. Thank you so much, brother. We appreciate you. Show Michael some love in the chat, member of the channel. I love it. And you know what I love too, everybody, is that little by little we're fixing things and we're getting things better, and we are getting wins. The wins are outweighing the losses, and that's where we have to be at, especially going into the midterms.
Disciplines that are probably going to be upset, but there's a lot of savings that can be done in so many different disciplines to bring down the cost of healthcare, not just have taxpayers pay for an ever-increasing cost.
Well, let me ask you about this. Politico has a headline this morning. Congress waits on Trump as the December healthcare sprint begins. Does it make more sense? I realize you can walk and chew gum at the same time, but does it make more sense to wait and see what the White House comes up with as a guidepost? Or does it make sense for you and your colleagues to start coming up with your own plans?
Well, I think we can be doing these things concurrently. I spoke to the White House, I think the night before Thanksgiving, had a very, very long discussion with the folks over there about what should be done. I think we're narrowing down the focus, which I think is critical and important, getting smart people in the room, people who understand healthcare, people who understand their communities, together to try to put something together. Whether it's bipartisan or not, this needs to happen for America.
All right. Well, certainly it is going to be the talk of Washington, and I know that you were there this morning and ready to go, so we appreciate that, sir. I do want to ask you about another daunting issue right now, and this is the issue of Venezuela.
I want to show you this real quick, everybody, because, again, this is so important with what Camp Goer 1 said, that a lot of people are always like, what's going on with religion in the United States? Over right now, I asked the AI Grok, what is the fastest growing religion in the USA? And it all boils down to Islam. And the reason being, this is big, everybody. This is real stuff in America. Fastest growing religion in America is Islam. U.S. Muslims are younger, median age 31 versus 38 for everybody else, with higher fertility. Immigration from Muslim majority countries, Pakistan, Bangladesh accounts for most of the growth. Huge. By 2050, Muslims could reach 2.1% of the population, potentially second to Christianity among faiths. This is big, everybody. Again, why is it? They're having kids. Because in 15 to 20 years, if they raise those kids to be in the same thing, it's going to be whatever they raise them in. And the thing about Islam and the Muslim is that they are like the way they live and how their family is very consistent. With Christianity, it's like very broad, general, and that's a problem with Christianity. It is. It's hilarious how in the Bible it says that there's one church, one faith, one Lord, one God, but yet we have 20 different denominations, and they all believe differently, and then everybody in America is only having one kid, maybe two kids. Hey, I did my part. I got 3 kids, okay? But right here, when you have Muslim Islam that are having 4, 5, 6 kids, they're gonna take. They will eventually outweigh in the population. There's no getting around that. That's the thing. And so that's why, again, when we show you all this stuff that's happening, everybody, when we show you of why Trump is doing a lot of major things when it comes to the immigration, is because we have to get things under hold. We have to fix our country right now. This is big. Listen to this.
Another Afghan national is facing state terror charges in Texas after DHS says he plotted to make a bomb with the intention of targeting the Fort Worth area. He was arrested on Tuesday, the day before the D.C. shooting. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Maddie. Christine Ohm was asked about this, and she said under the Trump administration, he has strengthened the vetting process for incoming immigrants. She said including reviewing social media accounts for anyone coming over and checking on who they interact with. And then Donald Trump, right after this happened, after the ambush on Thanksgiving Eve last Wednesday, he said he's going to impose additional restrictions on migrants and will stop all immigration from third world countries. And then he has since doubled down. Listen to this.
How long does your administration plan to pause asylum into the U.S.?
I think a long time.
Can you give any?
We don't want those people. We have enough problems. We don't want those people.
Is that a year, 2 years?
No time limit. But it could be a long time.
You said there.
We don't want those people. Do you understand that?
I think when he's talking about the people, he's clearly talking about the terrorists, the people that are radicals that are coming within our country, because the vetting process is almost non-existent. Sure, there's certain profiles that you can get, especially when someone is working for the CIA. But when you have people fleeing to planes and you don't know the background of them, you're not able to talk with the people there where they were currently living, that's problematic. And I think that's what the president is highlighting.
So the in terms of this shooting in particular, the one in Washington, D.C., the National Refugee Agency was warned multiple times that this guy was spiraling out of control. That he had basically non-existent, had no job, but basically left his family. And people are pointing out that he's showing mental illness. It began in 2023.
I don't know if you caught this, guys. What they just said, the guy that shot him up was reported multiple times for losing it, left his family, was still receiving $2,000 a month in federal benefits. Guys, this is the problem. I'm telling you, this is why it's so important. Everything that we're showing you as we're exposing this fraud, the waste, the abuse that's happening, we know it's a big fight. We know that they're trying to go after all the stuff that's happening. But if we do not know what's going on in our own country, we got a problem. Guys, if you appreciate this news, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, if you're not subscribed yet, please consider joining our family, hitting that subscribe button so we can take care of you every day with the breaking news. So much is going on, and we just want to be here to serve you. Don't forget, again, it is open enrollment time right now with Medicare, but the door is about to close, everybody. In just a couple of days, it's going to be over, and I don't want you to miss out on this blessing when I know that so many people have saved thousands of dollars by using Chapter. Their number is 667-895-3015. It is a free service to you. They compare all, guys, there's 5,600 plans out there, and they compare it all for you, and they make sure that you get the best plan possible. That's why we partner with them, and again, it's free to you. So call them up, tell them that Joel sent you from TrueLife News. I promise you, you'll be blessed. Link is in the description as well as the number at the bottom of the screen. And I do want to say again, We are getting to the nitty-gritty on so much, but I want to thank everybody for supporting us in our giving. Remember, on this channel, we donate to a local charity on the 22nd of every single month. And this month is Christmas, guys. This is my favorite time of the year. There's a charity we're going to donate to. And what I love is it's going to be our biggest donation of the year. And it's all because of you. And I want to give some special love to those that have given, whether you're a member or you give a super chat donation. Donna Hegeman, thank you so much, Donna, for your support. Ralph Campbell Mobile Welding, thank you, brother. Our brother Jogo with the 10 gifted True Life News memberships. If you got a free membership from Jogo, show him some love in the chat. Nana Trout, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ivan Criado, Terry Daniels. Show them some love in the chat, as well as our boy Andy, Alice Lewis, M. Fowl. Thank y'all so much for your support. Alice, thank you so much for helping us with the likes on the channel. Our boy Jim Barbato, OG of the channel. Show Jim some love in the chat. Thank you so much, brother. D-Block, welcome to the family. B1 Sly 1 moderator and helper of the channel. Camp Goer 1, OG, and Michael Hendricks. Show Michael some love in the chat, as well as Camp Goer 1. Thank you so much for sharing our videos on X, on Facebook. We love you and appreciate you, everybody. We're here to serve you.